pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Duff.
Here.
Dumont.
Here.
Meany.
Here.
Alec.
Here.
McNutt.
Here.
O'Brien.
Here.
Nedrow.
Yes. We have any additions to business?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Super. Correspondence and information, I don't believe we really received anything. First call to the public, I don't think we have any public.
We need to approve the agenda.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Tell I want to get out of here tonight. Approval of the agenda.
So
is-
moved.
Second. Motion by Dumont, second by Mr. Malik. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now we're on to correspondence that we didn't have. And the first call to the public that we have no public. So with that, we'll bypass the first call to the public and move on to the consent agenda. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Duff, second by Dumont. Any discussion on that? Roll call vote, please.
Dumont.
Yes.
Meany.
Yes.
Alec.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Board appointments. Recommendation that council reappoint Kathy Carrico and Lori Longbreak to the Parks and Rec Board for 3-year terms expiring on 12/31 of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Duff, second by Dumont. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're on to Mr. Powell already. Breakneck speed.
We're trying to get you out of here.
Get us out of here, exactly correct. Thank you, council. There was nothing specific on the agenda because things are rolling along pretty well, but I just wanted to bring you up to date. The crack sealing operation is almost totally completed. This year, we kind of faked everybody out. We've always gone counterclockwise around the village in crack sealing. And the people at the northeast corner of the village were complaining because not all their cracks were getting done. We ran out of budget to them. So we went clockwise around the village this time, and so they're finishing up in the western side of the township, or the village, tomorrow.
And Mike, did we miss any cracks?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Because we're keeping up on it, they're able to skip some things that have been done in the past. So I think our lineal footage is just fine this year.
And those of us in the northeast corner of the village appreciate change of direction.
That's correct. We received a plan for the proposed entrance to Hickory Glands Park across the street. I was trying to get them to shift the entrance a little bit to the west because I didn't want the left-hand turns conflicting. When they're crowded and releasing their crowd, we have left-hand turns coming into the village hall and to drop their boats off, and so I didn't want them conflicting. They have had to put it right across from our entrance. So the left-hand turns, if they're good drivers, they can get around each other like a normal entrance. Every foot that they pushed furthest to the west, it comes up on the hill a little bit, so they had more earthwork, and they had to remove a little bit more of their cover over their sanitary sewer. There's a big 16-inch sanitary sewer forced main on their side, on the north side of the road, and so we had to be cognizant of that. So that's in for our review, and I fully expect that they'll be putting that in next spring, and we'll obviously be bringing it to you first with any concerns that I have before they can get a permit. Also, I wanted to let you know that if you recall, it seems like just a few months ago, we approved an increase in the grinder pump contractors' services. Not only for installing the grinder pumps, but also the lines coming in and out and all the connections. If you recall, it had been about 10 years since they had asked for any increase. We normally just piggyback on to Commerce Township, but I don't piggyback until they ask for it. And so it was a long time before they asked for it. Commerce Township just rebid it again. and they were the only contractor that bid, and the prices jumped substantially. As you can well aware, the price of materials and all of that went up. So I was warned by Commerce Township that their fees go into place the 1st of January. And so, again, hopefully he's not listening online, because we're not going to bring a request before you until he asks us to. But it's going up, their prices are going up about $1,000 an install. So it's substantial. They have a specialized service. Now, I was just contacted by another contractor that would like to become licensed here in the village. The way that process works, in order to touch a sewer, they have to be certified by Oakland County to be able to even do any work on any of the sewers in Oakland County. They also have to be certified by E1 Pumps. They're the pump manufacturer that the village uses for the grinder operation. So the manufacturer has to approve them, and then Commerce and the village has to approve them as well. So he expressed an interest to go through that process. I told him if he became totally certified, then he could ask to do pumps on an individual basis requested by the homeowner. But in order to do the work in the village, he would have to bid against, we would have to go out for bids and bid against the current contractor in order to be properly certified and approved here in the village for a general application. So those are the 3 items that I had for you, unless council has any questions of anything going on in the village. Been pretty quiet, even with all the rain we've had. And unless Dave has heard, I've traveled around the village, and the village is draining extremely well, and we've not had any complaints at all. So
Everything's finished up at the park?
everything's finished at the park. That's correct, and I'm not been hounding him. He knows that he dragged that project out, so I have not even asked him for his final bill. There's a little bit left for him to be paid, but everything's done. So.
Great.
All right.
Anybody have anything else?
Thank you, council.
Thank you. We have no public hearings, so we'll move on to new business. Item 12A, resolution to approve the proposed second amendment solid waste, yard waste and recycling agreement between the Village of Wolverine Lake and GFL Environmental USA.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Duff, second by Mr. Melick. And I guess any discussion, but Dave, you want to fill us in a little bit on this, or? I know that it was a pretty decent contract. I think it was going to be for like 7 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, the proposal that we received from GFL to extend our current agreement is for 7 years with an additional 3 one-year mutual options. There is a little bit of a bump in the first year of the contract compared to what we're paying right now. It's a 3.5% increase over what's being paid right now. But over the course of the 7 years, or possibly the 10 years, the fees are basically locked in with a 2% increase every year of the contract. So over the course of the contract, we really still end up ahead of the game, even though we are getting a little bit of a bump at the start. And given as long as the contract is, it would give us the benefit of being able to budget over the longer term as well. So we're recommending approval of the proposed agreement.
Question in terms of the being able to purchase the 95 gallon or the 65 gallon, that isn't something that the village is going to keep on hand. It would be GFL that would provide them then?
That's correct. Anyone who's interested in purchasing a container would contact GFL
Okay.
and make arrangements directly with them. Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I have a question. With their increase, I didn't see, what will it cost the average citizen?
Increase.
181.45.
Yeah, 181.44.
Oh, I'm sorry, all right.
Per household, 20.
All right, well, my next question then, and it's been brought up in the past by previous council people, is there any way of rebating anything back to the citizens, since we do have government money?
No, that's a decision for council to make, so.
I guess that's whatever we would like to do.
You know, I don't know. I don't know where we're at, and I know we got a substantial amount. the citizen, oh, go ahead, Michael.
I was trying to figure out what you meant by government money. Are you referring to the ARP funds?
Yeah, I didn't know if that
Yeah,
can
we've got
affect
our-
any of that or not.
No, we've got our first installment of $250,000, but the purposes to which we could put it are limited. That would not be one of them.
Okay, I didn't know, that's why I asked the question.
Good question.
So if we ended up giving anything back, it would be coming out of our general fund.
Okay, well, that's why I didn't know if that
Mhm.
money was, could be used or not, so I figured to ask the
But
question.
are you asking, should we put general fund money into?
Well, I don't think
Or
our-
against our GFL bill?
Well, you're gonna pay for it in your taxes, or everybody's gonna pay that amount, and we know that. But in the discussion in the past has been, for those that had their, let's just pick a number, $50 trash bill in their taxes, and then it jumps to 180, they're crying about it. But it's the cost of living and doing business. And why should a lakefront owner pay more than a backlot owner? That was one of the original reasons. It was pulled out of the tax revenue.
Right, originally it was based upon your
And we
millage.
just didn't know
Your value of your home.
in discussion in the past if there
Right.
was any leeway to give anything back to the citizen. I don't know, because I don't see the numbers. Michael, you deal with them more than anything.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
our general fund,
our rate is etched in stone, and that will take us through June 30. When is budget time again? We can certainly have that discussion. But remember that any subsidy, anything that goes back, or any reduction we'd make would punch a hole in our general fund revenues. And over the long term, that's not sustainable. But council may feel differently and want to hold the line or something like that. Again, I think the budget, when we discuss that in May, would be the appropriate time to look at that.
well, I look at it, I don't want it to just get shoveled aside, okay? Because, there for a number of years, we had a nice budget that we had extras in, and we've done things with it for the village. And again, the taxpayers are the ones that have put it there. So I bring it up only to keep it above board. If we get to that position again, maybe we'll be in a position as a council to give something back to the taxpayers.
Right.
So,
Could we roll it into the general fund though, Mike?
Problem with, well, what do you mean, covering the cost in its
Yeah,
entirety?
yeah, and then not have the
In-
line item on our
Yeah, in
tax.
10 years, you'd be bankrupt, or within 10 years.
Bankrupt, so we need the extra revenue that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically self-supporting. Whatever it is that we take in goes right out the door to GFL. It also covers, the rate also covers our, we'll call it leaf collection enterprise, which involves participation with GFL, landfill costs, so on and so forth. But, no, to simply say, go to the pre-2010 state of affairs, you'd be looking at our operations probably about $325,000, $330,000 every year. So figure that would come out of your fund balance. year
So
over
then
year.
we would end up into an additional millage, just to make it clear to the
It would
public.
increase the millage down the
So we
road.
would have
Yeah,
to, we would
absolutely.
have to come up with more millage, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Okay.
an option is that you can do that specifically for the purpose of refuse and recycling.
We've had a lot of people come into the meeting, and not tonight, obviously, but,
Sure.
that have asked us, and I just want to make it clear that that's the option we're dealing with, right? Either more millage or bankrupt.
well, yeah, but not only more
Did I get
millage.
that right? Okay.
As our property values go up, our revenues are going up, because, the county is a little bit behind of what's actually going on. Whether, if your value's going up this year, if am I correct, you might not see that increase for a year or two.
It's generally a couple of years behind.
Right.
Assessed value, I believe, correct, Mike?
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Whatever,
like 2 years
nevertheless,
sales.
Mhm.
the cost of business is going up.
Oh.
We're looking at a 2% increase.
I understand.
Every year, so I mean, it's linear.
Yep. Well, again, it's just, I look at it, at keeping the citizens in mind, okay? If there's a way of helping them, we have to ask those questions.
Sure.
So, I'm satisfied with that. Thank you, Michael.
fair enough. Anything else? With that, roll call vote, please.
Jermaine,
Yes.
McNutt,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pedro,
Yes.
Dumont,
Yes.
Duff,
Yes.
Mallett,
Yes.
Okay, next item is a resolution to hold public hearing for community relevant block grant funds program for year 2022 on our next council meeting, December 8th.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. O'Brien.
Second.
Second by Mr. Duff. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries on that. Park and Rec Board recommends that we release budgeted funds for Snacks with Santa.
Moved.
Second.
Dumont, second by Duff. Any discussion on that? All in roll call.
McDuff?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Nedra?
Yes.
Dumont?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
Malik?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Okay, Planning Commission recommendations. First of all is, we recommend that they council distributes the updated master plan draft.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Duff, second by Dumont. And just to let everybody know, that will be publicized and sent out to area communities surrounding us, along with public utilities, I think the school system,
Oakland County,
Oakland
SEMCOG.
County,
yeah.
SEMCOG, and a bunch of other people. They've got 63 days to make comment, and then it'll be kicked back to the village, and the planning commission will hold a public hearing, I believe. And then we will put things together, bring it to council, finalize it, bring it to council for final approval. So, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Second is to approve proposed rezoning from Office 1 to C1, request for 1211 Glengarry, which happens to be the Glengarian.
Motion.
Motion by Duff,
Second.
second by O'Brien.
What's the, what?
Okay, so just a little brief history on that. Glengarian has been basically operating without conformance because of the fact that back in the, I think it was late 70s, early 80s, it was, that parcel, along with about 8 other parcels up along Glengarry there, were rezoned to an office district. So, I mean, technically, they shouldn't even be operating on that particular parcel. And a couple of years ago, we ended up having a homeowner that has a piece of property up there. They ended up, they wanted to sell the property. It was
Yeah, I
a vacant
remember
lot, and they had to actually rezone that, because they couldn't sell it as they could have sold it as an office parcel, but they wanted to sell it as a residential lot. And a lot of the other homes up there are actually on an office district, so that's not conforming either. So in the master plan that we've looked at here, our future land use plan, we've adopted that will be a multi-use district for those 8 parcels, which will eventually bring the Glengarry back into conformance, but also those other homes, and give it a little bit area for leniency for people that have that. So, in any case, so that's what really transpired on that. So, I know Glengarry's been, Linda and John, or JR, they couldn't believe that they couldn't really physically even operate a business like that. And they had no idea that it was out of conformance, so.
Would this allow other businesses to move into those properties?
This, what we're looking at, this is strictly for the Glengarry.
Okay.
This motion right here, so, I mean, no, I mean, and they're limited to what they could even do if they want to do anything with that property anyways. So, if you read the report from the Planning Commission and Sally Elmiger, our planning consultant, so essentially that's where we're at. So this is just to basically bring the Glengarry up to conformance and allow them to make some improvements if they so desire, so.
I think the idea is just to kind of bridge the gap up until the time that the planning commission and then council can take a look at the mixed-use zoning in that area. So rather than wait and leave them as a legally non-conforming use all that time, get them into conformity and then,
Sure.
if need be, change the zoning down the road.
Right.
So,
Okay.
So with that, I guess, roll call vote, please.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Nedra?
Yes.
Dumont?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
Malik?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
McDuff?
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Item E, request from Police Chief Ellsworth to replace 2 body-worn microphones and 2 interior vehicle microphones at a cost not to exceed $772.
Moved.
Second.
Motion by Dumont, second by Duff.
Thank you.
Believe it or not.
Have a seat.
Just to give you a little bit of background here. We recently had a very serious crime occur in the village of Wolverine Lake. It was a stabbing. And we did everything what we thought was right. We recorded it. We did interviews inside the vehicles. And what we realized is after 2 hours on the scene, our microphones had actually gone dead. And when we had transferred all the equipment from the old vehicles to the new vehicles, those microphones are actually ran up in the liner of the vehicle. Those did not get transferred. So we didn't have an interior microphone, nor did we have our body cam, or body microphones. So, because the batteries have been going dead shortly after use. Within 20 minutes now, they're dying out, because they're getting older.
Older, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm standing before you is brace yourselves. We're going to have to start replacing some of this equipment. They went from $4,500 to about $5,500 now for an in-car camera. The reason I've been holding off on this is, as you remember, I have applied for a grant, matching grant for body cameras, and I'm hoping to do all of this in one full swoop. However, it's a competitive grant, and I found out 142 grants are going to be issued across the nation. I'm not holding my breath. So, and it is a 50% grant. We're going to have to match 50% of it for the body cameras themselves. It's going to be about $8,000 to $10,000, including all the software. So, I'm putting a Band-Aid on it right now, and going forward, I think what we're going to do is to, rather than one lump sum cost, we're going to start replacing the cameras as we replace the vehicles. Since they have to come out anyway, there's not going to be any additional installation costs.
Right.
So I think it's just going to make more sense doing it that way. Same way with our laptop computers are now 7 years old. They're using old Windows, not even 7, some of them. So they're coming to the end of their use, and so we're going to have to start purchasing additional computers, in-car computers too. So that being said, we've already replaced 1 microphone last year. This time we're asking for 2 more microphones, as well as to get the interior microphones up and running. So that comes to $720, and we should have everything done in a couple of weeks. But it's pretty disheartening when we think we're doing everything right and we don't come up with the Miranda rights and things like that that were read inside the vehicle. And we have it all on video, but there's no audio. So that's why we're asking for this for now. Like I said, it's just a Band-Aid, but it's a fairly significant cost, $720. But when it comes down to it,
Definitely needed.
it's the cost of doing business,
Yep,
unfortunately.
that's exactly right. Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Pedro.
Yes.
Dumont.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Mallett.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
And segue into the vehicle.
Yes. As you know, we had went through the Chevy Tahoes for quite some time. Those are getting cost prohibitive, if you ask me. There's a lot of them still being bought. They couldn't guarantee me when they're going to come in. I did some research through Dodge. They will guarantee a delivery by March 1st, or I'm sorry, by the end of March. So they're going to be built January, February, and March, and they're guaranteed a delivery date by the end of March. So that being said, with the price that they gave us, not to exceed $35,000, because they still do not have the final price worked up, but the 2021s were right around 33 and change, and he said it would be a safe bet for $35,000. So I'm asking for that, and then obviously it's going to be a pretty significant cost to outfit these.
Right.
But again, I think we're coming back down to we have to make some financial decisions. I'm trying to be as physically responsible as possible, and I think the Dodge Durango, we're gonna give it a shot. Walled Lake has used them the last couple of years, and they've been happy with them.
They got
I've
the
driven
front end
them.
fixed?
What's that?
They have the front end finally fixed?
Yes, they're still, now, mind you, they're not heavy-duty like the Chevy
Yeah,
Tahoes.
right.
They're still gonna have issues just like a regular patrol car would, but at the same time, they've addressed a lot of the issues over the last year that they had over the first year police package. Durango, some of them, the sight lines and things like that, they've addressed, and as well as the interior configuration. So I think I'll be pretty happy with this, and so I'm asking for.
John, moved 35,000 plus what it takes to outfit it properly.
Well, I'll get to that. Right now, I just need to get the vehicle, and then what I do is I go out and get bids for the installation, and that can be fairly significant. So I think,
Okay.
we have a budget for that, and I still think I'll be within the budget of that, obviously, with the price of this. But it's gonna be close to probably $15,000 to outfit this vehicle. But I think last year's was 13,000 or close to it, so this is gonna be.
I have one question.
Sure.
When you go to outfitting, that will include the new camera that you just spoke prior about?
No, that will,
And
that would be another 5,500 on top of that, but that wasn't in the budget this year. So
Okay.
going forward, it will be in every budget, so I'm not.
And then
I'm
you'll
not gonna-
outfit with the computers as necessary down the road also?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'll have more solid numbers. I don't like to say, above this or above that. I'd rather have the solid bid numbers from also the watch guard, which has now been bought by Motorola. So I don't know if that's good or bad. We had great service with Motorola, or with watch guard. Their service was fantastic. Motorola has now become part of the conglomerate, so it's a little bit harder to deal with them sometimes, but, and again, the Dell computers for the cars, they're all through a competitive bid. We have one particular bid for Oakland County that we use, so it's pretty set in stone what the costs are gonna be. I just have to get it all laid out and get it in front of you before I come to you for approval.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Duff.
Second.
Second by
Everybody?
Mr.
I
O'Brien.
made a motion, though.
Yeah.
Well, was that a motion that you made? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you made a motion before John
Yeah,
started.
before
That
I.
was.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that
That
was a
was
motion or if that was
for,
just.
to include all the other stuff, though.
Yep, I mean.
No,
if
he
you
made it
guys
for the
disagree,
Durango.
We can work on this together, but, yeah, I made a motion for 35,000 plus.
I didn't realize it was a motion.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, well, that
And
was a
then I
motion by
didn't get a
Dumont,
second.
so I guess that was probably a second by Mr. Duff. and
Or
with
really,
your
doesn't
Mr.
matter.
Duff. Who wants to take a second?
Doesn't matter.
Second.
We'll give it to Mr. O'Brien.
We should just give
Yeah,
each one of
believe
them
me.
half credit.
There's no credit. I mean,
That's fine, whatever. So so we have a motion, we have a second.
Yeah, the motion's for the 35
For
plus.
35,000,
Plus.
I said plus outfitted because
Right.
we've worked together for so long, it's not like John throws money away or something. Like, he's not gonna, I don't know,
No,
gold
but-
plate the thing or something.
problem was,
But in his
Yeah, but we don't
conversation,
know
he
what it's
said
gonna cost.
It wasn't
he would
budget.
bring that up
Yeah.
later.
Which we can
So-
do, but at the same time, it's gotta be done.
Well, yeah, but until we know the numbers, let's just stick with the vehicle.
All right,
so do you have a friendly,
a friendly to amend that to where John doesn't get anything out on top of the.
and I'm sure
The
Mr.
cost.
Anytime I
O'Brien
need something, I know where to go.
Yeah, I know.
We'll agree with that
We
in a
as
second.
As a council need to know the numbers later,
So
so.
that's fine.
Okay, so everybody's clear on the motion. It's going to be not to exceed 35 grand for a 2022 Durango. Right?
Correct.
No more
Yes.
discussion. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Dumont.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Malik.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Nedra.
Yes. All right. Congrats. Hopefully we get it by the end of March.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
No kidding.
You never know.
No, you don't.
Maybe next year will be better, but
Right now, it's a disaster.
I'm not holding my breath. And also, we have a recommendation to sell the retired police vehicle.
Price.
That was a decent price, I guess.
$9,000 plus. Yeah.
Close to 10, wasn't it? If that guy was still interested, I guess.
95.
He goes, well, I had a question about the form of the bid that he had submitted, so I talked to him on the telephone the day of the opening, and he confirmed that he did want to pay the $95.50. So that's our recommendation. I'd ask for authorization to be able to sell the vehicle to Mr. Lott from Warren for $95.50.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Duff, second by Malik that time, I guess. To sell our current retired police vehicle for $95.50.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
It's amazing.
Any other discussion on that? We could have held out for another 50 or 100 bucks. Probably.
Yeah, right.
Now you get to that 10,000 figure, people start to.
Yeah.
Good cold fee, yeah.
Contacted the dealership, but they pay
Okay,
more.
roll call vote on that, I guess.
Duff.
Yes.
Malik.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Umar.
Yes.
And we are way ahead of our second call, but there's still no public, so with that, we'll bypass the second call to the public. And item I is Administrator Gillum would request the council move into closed session, discuss attorney-client privilege communication immediately after agenda item 17.
Motion.
That was a tie.
Let's flip.
Motion by Duma, second by Duff.
There you
This
go.
time.
I'm favored.
Any discussion?
Whatever works, man.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Needs to be a roll call.
Roll call?
vote.
Well, that's right. Roll call for closed session.
Malik.
Jeez, I was going so.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Umar.
Yes.
Duff.
Yes.
Okay, with that, set topics for the November 24th work
Motion
session.
to forego.
There was a motion by Duff,
Second.
second by Dumont, amazingly, to forego the November 24th work session. So, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I don't believe we have any pending business.
No.
Update from Police Chief Ellsworth.
Hi.
Hi,
Since you're there.
Yeah, since I'm here.
with the furry
Um,
face.
Good news today, we had our, I think it's a biannual lien audit from the Michigan State Police. They came in and audited our books, and we passed with flying colors. A couple of recommendations, one of them is an update, a policy that they've added more stuff to, but the second thing is I need to put some authorized personnel-only signs on our doors. So, on the back door especially, and where our patrol room is. So, other than that, it was a great relief to have it done, but as me and Administrator Gillum had talked, if Detroit Police Department can pass it, we can pass it.
That was the chief's comment.
Yes, it was the chief's comment, and they were all, I had lunch with a lot of them today, and they were all in agreement, so. As you know, Officer Rico Vancina, our part-time Marine Patrol officer who's worked here the last couple of years, passed away on Monday, November 1st, from complications of pancreatic cancer. He was not only a good friend and mentor to many of us, he has taught many motor safety classes and actually taught 50 students this year, and he's going to be greatly missed. So that's our sad comment for this month. But I appreciate all of your support, and I appreciate the thought that we're going to be able to do what we need to do to replace the equipment in the vehicles. I really don't have anything else, so I'm going to sit down and shut up in record time, folks.
So how much for the no shave going so far this year?
We're probably right around $650, $750, something like that is what we've got so far collected, which, believe it or not, we'll almost purchase one of the wigs for one of the kids. So
Wow.
that's a good deal. So, yes, you're going to see a lot of the officers and us wearing our beards this month, or at least part of our beards this month.
And the gals
for
too?
Wigs for pigs. I'm not asking them.
So how much do you usually raise? on average?
The first year we did it, we had that competition with myself and Officer Grunwald. We raised almost $30,000, but that was, he was beating every country star he could up to get money because he didn't want to shave his head. And I ended up shaving my head, but even I had, I think, 8,000 and he had like 22,000, something like that. So it was really good. It was fun. It was a good year, but I'm not doing that again. It's cold in
It's too
December.
cold, yeah.
So, but yeah, we're doing really well, and we appreciate everybody's support, so.
Thanks,
thank you.
Chief. Mr. Condek, anything?
No, sir.
No. Mr. Gillum?
Well, since the chief was so short, I got a long list of stuff. No, just a couple things to update you on or comment on. First of all, the chief mentioned Rico Vancini and the loss his family suffered. Our neighbors to the south suffered a loss last week, too. Casey Ambrose, who's a longtime member of the Walled Lake City Council, the DDA, and the owner of a business in downtown Walled Lake, and a well-known family in the Lakes area, the Ambrose family. Casey passed away, as I understand, from complications from a brain aneurysm. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Ambrose family. So more routine business. The roof repairs, if you recall, last month the council had authorized some basically emergency roof repairs to the village complex here. The repairs were completed today. So we are ready for the rain and the snow whenever it comes. So, Andy Stone, our maintenance leader at the DPW, advises me that the gates at the dam have been open. Lake level as of today is down 8 inches from the summer level, and we are right on track to get down to the 18-inch level by December 1st. You'll recall that we had pushed that off for a month because of the fact that the boat launch was going to be closed for a period of time. We're right on track to be right where we need to be as of December 1st. This afternoon, we received word from our financial advisors over at Baker Tilly that they opened the proposals for the bonds on the SAD for the sewer connections, and the results we received were favorable, and we do have a recommendation from Baker Tilly to award the sale of the bonds to one of the area banks. So we'll be moving forward with that, which will mean in roughly a month we'll actually have money in the bank, and residents who are interested in moving forward with the connection to the sewer will be able to do that.
Forgive me, Dave, what was the rate, do you know, offhand?
1.5%.
1.5.
We have to, don't ask me for an explanation, I'll give it to
I
you
won't.
later, but we always have to.
I'm just curious.
Up it by 100 basis points, so it will be 2.5% to the
Okay.
people on the roll.
Which is still a pretty favorable rate.
Mhm.
The lowest since I've been
Amazing.
here.
Yeah.
As probably everybody in the village knows, we did go ahead and start with the leaf pickup this week. I received a couple phone calls from residents questioning why we were moving forward with the leaf pickup at this point when there are still admittedly a lot of leaves that are up in the trees. But keeping in mind that we do want to be able to make sure that we have 2 trips through the village, the entire village, by the end of the month when the landfills are supposed to be closing. We talked about it internally, and we decided that we really thought we should go ahead and get started this week, given the uncertainties of the weather. We're going to have one member from the DPW is going to be off next week doing some hunting, so we're going to be a little bit short in terms of our staffing. And again, we want to make sure that we can get through twice. So at this point, we will be finishing up. We're at a schedule because the pickup has been as light as it has this week. We will be finishing the first circle around the village this week. We'll be doing that tomorrow and Friday. There will not be any leaf pickup scheduled for next week. We're going to take next week off. Towards the end of next week, we're going to reevaluate where we are, where the leaves and the trees are, and things like that. Andy and I had conversation with our contact at GFL today, and the end of next week, we'll make a decision as to whether or not we want to pick up where we've left off with the leaves on Monday, the 22nd. It is the Monday of Thanksgiving week. Work those days and then pick up again the following week. Or the other alternative is to not work that short week of Thanksgiving and then pick up the week of the 29th. Either way, we will make 2 trips through the village whenever we get started again. In talking with GFL, they said they could accommodate our schedule in terms of their truck, whatever we decide to do, they're comfortable with. The information they're receiving is that the landfills are probably going to be staying open a little bit later than normal this year, because it's not just us, everybody is kind of in the same situation. So even if we hold off until the 29th to start the second round of leaf pickups, it would probably take us then 2 full weeks to get around to everybody again, because by then the leaf pickup should be heavy. But GFL has indicated they can accommodate that schedule, and they believe the landfills will be able to accommodate it too, if that's the decision we make. So I would encourage the residents to obviously watch for the signs posted on their streets as to when we're going to be starting the leaf pickup back up. But again, keep your eye on the website, and we'll keep people,
You know, they did Spring
message
Lake
boards.
Heights on Monday, and we got people that have already started piling the stuff in the street again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's one home, I don't know what the street is, Teleco or whatever, but there's a big old long line of the, you know, and it's just, they don't pay attention, and the posting is important, because, you know, it's 4 foot into the road, and it was picked up Monday. So, I mean, I hate to have somebody have a notice put on their door from our enforcement officer, but people have to use common sense, and some of them don't have that. And if they're watching, I apologize. But it's bad. I mean, you know, it's just, it prohibits the two-way traffic on a street, and again, it was just done Monday, so that's the thing that's really alarming.
Well, and you run the risk too, if there are a lot of leaves piled up along the side of the road for an extended period of time, people may start to park their cars there. And then with the heat from the catalytic converters and things like, there's a risk of a fire and things like that. So, yeah, I agree, as much as possible. Try to follow the schedule that we're setting forth. And we'll do the best that we can to keep everybody advised going forward. We will get around twice. We really felt that we needed to get started this week in order to be able to get that done for sure. The other comment I would make too is we've had some preliminary discussion with GFL about the possibility of extending the curbside leaf pickup, the yard waste
Yard
pickup.
waste.
As it stands right now, and what we've been telling everyone when they're calling the villages, that our last pickup would be scheduled to be Monday the 29th. A lot of places, I think, are making the decision to push that last pickup up at least 1 week. And then, again, our decision in terms of how far we actually put the curbside pickup out will depend upon what we decide as far as the leaf pickup is concerned. Because we like to be able to give people one pickup at curbside after the leaf pickup has taken place with the tank.
Just for
Because that
cleanup.
way people can get their own yards cleaned up and get everything out to the curb. So, again, we're working on that just to make council aware. If we do go ahead and ask GFL to extend the yard waste pickup curbside, there will be an additional cost to the village. I think Mike and I figured roughly, I haven't gotten specific figures from GFL, but we were figuring it's roughly about $1,000 a week for the additional pickup. But again, given the way the weather has been to this point, I think that's probably something that we will need to do. But I'll keep you posted on that as well.
It's gonna be getting colder here in the next couple of days, so it should be staying colder, so that could have an effect on how things go too, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
So we're just, some things we can't control, we're just trying to be flexible, and we'll make the best decisions as we go along.
How's
So,
our new DPW gentleman working out?
Doing it very, very well.
Great.
Very well. Seems happy to be here, and we're glad to have him. So,
I bet.
yeah. And the last comment is, finally, tomorrow is Veterans Day. Village Hall will be open, business as usual for us here at the village, but if you have a chance, say a prayer or say thank you to anybody that gave their service to the country.
Appreciation dinner?
appreciation dinner, we have confirmed a date with Zerbo's Bistro for Thursday, December 2nd. There was an invitation that went out last week, and if you haven't responded to that yet, please take a look at your email and get back to Tabitha and let her know so we can get a head count. So we're looking forward to that event as well.
Okay, thank you. Council comments. Who will I go last? Let's go to Mr. Malik first.
Believe it or not, the only thing I can say is, Thanksgiving is coming, deer hunting season. Stay safe for that and enjoy your Thanksgiving, and that's it.
Couldn't say it better myself, likewise.
Mr. Dumont.
No comments.
Comment? Mr. O'Brien.
Just wish you all a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. McNutt.
I just want to say thank you to our veterans.
Jeremy.
My condolences to our police family and the Vachina family on his passing. And then happy Thanksgiving, and hope everyone has a safe time hunting who's going to do that.
Safe travels for anybody that's traveling during the holiday. Good luck hunting, all you hunters. And hope to see everybody at the appreciation dinner, all the village volunteers. And I guess we'll see you in December. With that, motion to move into closed session. So moved. Motion by Malik, second.
Second.
By Duff. All in favor?
He was eyeballing you. He was